From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, August the 26th, 2020. An Israeli man was murdered today in what is believed to have been a terror attack. 39-year-old Rabbi Shai Ochayun was stabbed several times by a Palestinian man at a bus stop just outside of Petach Tikva, a suburb of Tel Aviv. United Hatzalah medics were first on the scene. They performed CPR on the victim and took him to Beilinson Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. The terror suspect was from the West Bank and had a legal permit to work in Israel. He was apprehended by police who found what is believed to have been the murder weapon on him. Israel police said the result of the investigation raised the suspicion of a nationalistic motive. They handed the suspect over to Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, for questioning. The Shin Bet said it was looking into a report of the possibility that the suspect had a history of mental illness, but that it was too soon to tell if that could explain the attack. Shots were fired last night toward IDF troops near Israel's border with Lebanon, presumably from Hezbollah forces, the Lebanese-based, Iranian-backed terror group. The IDF tweeted that the incident took place during operational activity and that Israeli troops responded with fire and aircraft, which struck Hezbollah observation posts near the border, calling the event severe. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel views with utmost gravity the shooting at our forces by Hezbollah. We will not tolerate any aggression against our citizens, and we will respond forcefully to any attacks against us. More incendiary devices, meanwhile, were launched from Gaza into southern Israel today, sparking at least 33 fires. The envoy of Qatar is said to be in Gaza today trying to de-escalate the situation. Israeli jets and tanks struck Hamas targets in southern Gaza earlier this morning, following a similar day of attacks from Gaza yesterday. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in the United Arab Emirates today, part of his 5-day tour following the historic Abraham Accord, normalizing ties between the UAE and Israel. As we have been reporting to you, Pompeo this week visited a number of Arab countries in the Middle East in the hopes that they will follow suit. Pompeo was in Bahrain earlier, where King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa seemed to reject following in the UAE's footsteps. He told Pompeo that his country remains committed to the Arab Peace Initiative, which calls for a Palestinian state based on the 1967 lines. The official Bahrain news agency reported that the king stressed to Pompeo the importance of intensifying efforts to end the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, according to the two-state solution, to the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Later today, Pompeo arrived in the UAE, tweeting that he was excited to congratulate the Emirati people on the historic accords, the most significant step, he said, toward peace in the Middle East in over 25 years. Hopeful, he wrote, we will build on this momentum towards regional peace. Pompeo then tweeted pictures from his meeting with UAE Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan and National Security Advisor Sheikh Tahnoun bin Zayed Al Nahyan. And Prime Minister Netanyahu announced officially last night that an Israeli team would be heading to the UAE for talks next week. Netanyahu said the team will be led by head of the National Security Agency, Meir Ben Shabbat, and will work together with an American team and an Emirati team to advance the peace and normalization between Israel and the UAE. Netanyahu said he hoped other countries would join the circle of peace. The Israeli team, it is being reported, will likely fly together with the American team, led by White House Senior Advisor Jared Kushner and National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, on the first commercial flight between Israel and the UAE. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, August the 26th. At 7 o'clock, it's an in-depth look at the history of the Israeli-Arab conflict from 1880 till 2015. And at 8 tonight, legendary radio host of All Things Considered for over 30 years, Robert Siegel, hosts Global Connections Navigating the New Abnormal, a new virtual leaders forum. Each month, Siegel will interview different experts on vital issues facing the economy, medicine, science, and technology to discuss new realities in our society and explore how to navigate the complexities of this turbulent time. Tonight is the first in a new series from the American Friends of the Rabin Medical Center. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with former Chief Orthodox Rabbi of the UK, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs. At 10, performances from Ron Rifkin, Joel Gray, and Deborah Monk at Culturefest NYC. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, August the 26th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.